G'day, this is Luke Cook. I play Henry Hickman in Good Cop, Bad Cop, and I'm here with Pop Culture with Pat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am so excited to be joined by today's guests. Today I'm talking to Luke Cook, who plays Henry in Good Cop, Bad Cop, which is on the CW right now. Thank you so much for your time today, Luke.
Yeah, Pat, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So yeah, a lot to talk about with the series. You play Henry in the series. I know I've saw like other interviews where you mentioned that initially you didn't think that you were the right fit for this character. So I'm curious, what was kind of your entry point for the character, and how were you able to kind of figure him out eventually?
Yeah, it's a good question. I didn't think I could play this character. I said no to the audition, and then they came back and they said, "Could you please audition? They really want to see what you can do." And so I put myself on tape, and they were like, "That's the guy." And I guess I was really scared about. I just thought I knew too many people who could play this better than me. And it's good to surprise yourself. Like I was like, okay, I can do this. I was wrong. Cool, good to be wrong. Good to surprise yourself. And then my entry point to the character was like, I people have compared Henry to multiple different people, and none of them I'm particularly familiar with. I know who Sheldon is, but I never really watched that show. I know who Monk is, but I never really watched that show. I guess there are lots of oddball detectives out there and things like that, and doctors now. But I never got into any of that. Never watched any of that. I guess I really just wanted to play like a guy who was very like stiff physically, probably not the most physically gifted as well, like not a sporty, coordinated type, just like a big, stiff, awkward, socially, uncharming, and or yeah, odd, strange, things, and thinks he's the smartest in the room, arrogant, and not wrong. Also, like maybe he is the smartest person in the room, and also looks at the world very critically and is always taking in facts. Would fancy himself quite the reader of human emotion, and yet doesn't know what to do in order to be charming with that emotion. Yeah, he fancies himself a Sherlock Holmes, but
Yep.
Sherlock Holmes had the charm. That's what I love about Henry. I watched the show last night. I watched episode 3 last night, sitting on the couch, and I just said to my wife, "I love Henry. I love him so much. Like I just love this character." And I almost feel it's funny seeing yourself and then liking the character you're playing. Like almost, I love him. Like I want to take care of him, but he's me.
And I know it can be tough sometimes too, because oftentimes we're our own worst critic. I know, like myself, when I'm editing videos, I'm just like, oh, like my voice, hate listening to it. So I
Oh
can
my
imagine,
goodness.
and I know sometimes actors, it's the same way. It's like some people hate watching their own material. So that's pretty cool, and hopefully we get to see you play this character for many years to come. Now, how you were able to approach this character, because he is someone who oftentimes he thinks he's right in pretty much any given situation. And now, how were you able to kind of play that character, but also still make him likable? Because that's not an easy thing to do. Like, oftentimes a character like that can come off as like, oh, the audience just doesn't like, I don't like that character at all. So, how were you able to kind of walk that line?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know how much of it was me and how much of it is just great writing. The writer offers me as Henry great weakness, and he's sensitive. We know his fears. We know that he's bad with his ex girlfriend, and that he has like, and that she's like the kind of chink in his armor. He would consider himself like close to perfect, but he did not nail the end of his relationship with his ex girlfriend, and he knows it. And as well as that, like his sister, like he battles with his sister endlessly. They bicker, but he loves her. And so that's the and same with his father. Like he has his issues with his father professionally, but he loves his father deep down. How a character like this shows affection is so interesting, because it's not, he won't touch you, he won't hug you. His hygiene doesn't want to doesn't want the hygiene problem of hugs and kisses. So how does this character show affection? And and also I think we all know characters like this. We all know people like this from our lives. We all know a Henry, and so I think I'm glad to hear that you think that he's likable. I was certainly not trying to play him dislikable or likable. I was just like kind of doing what I thought was correct. So it's nice to hear that you think he's likable.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, you had me cracking up at I don't know if it was episode 1 or 2, but where you're chasing after people that running away and just like the way that you were running with the arms going, that had me cracking up. I love it's like some of the physical comedy that is in the series as well.
Yeah, that's right. So that was even in the script. I think they mentioned that he was it was Terminator chasing down a thing. So I had to watch some Terminator on YouTube and kind of figure out the exact run that he was talking about. Um, and a lot of people have mentioned that particular bit to me.
Yeah, no, I love it. And you had also mentioned too that Henry, he's not a bad guy, but he's also not charming compared to a character like you played Lucifer. Like I had mentioned, that was the first character that I had seen you play before. So, what was it like to kind of go from one extreme to the other, going from a character like Lucifer, who is charming but evil, to a character like Henry?
Yeah, it's been years since I played Lucifer, so it wasn't like I was thinking about Lucifer very much when I started playing Henry. Yeah. So the Lucifer's obvious, like you said, very charming. The devil has his charms, is a saying.
Yep.
It's not like the devil is just evil. The devil understands people. He understands what's going to work for them so that he can get what he wants. Henry doesn't understand people, doesn't understand how to get what he wants. He only understands facts and data, and he's also thinks he's right all the time, which doesn't really meld well for social graces. So there are obvious differences. But again, for me it's physical. Like I can when I start playing Henry, like if we were to go right now and you would say action and I would be Henry, I just do a face and I'm Henry. And so that's a fun as an actor because you can just switch on. Whereas if I was to just play Lucifer, I wouldn't really change my physicality very much. It would just be like I lock eyes with you in a very intense way, and maybe that would be a physical thing. But for Henry, it's like this physical, like I switch on and I can be Henry like right now.
And so how did you want to, because we've seen characters like we'd mentioned talking earlier in the interview that we've seen characters similar to a degree, but how did you want to make him different from some of those characters? I know you wanted to go into this thing not really having watched any characters that were similar, wanted to make it your own. How did you want to approach that?
I didn't want to, again, I didn't want to think about what was different about Henry to compare to anybody else. So I didn't watch any of it. Um, I didn't watch any of that stuff. I was just like, I want to make because I can impersonate people. If I watch too much Ricky Gervais or Jim Carrey or Will Ferrell, I start to do it all the time, and it can be a kind of dangerous thing. So I don't like to watch too much of it. I just like look at it, see it, like, and put it away when I watch other actors' great performances. Um, but for this, I just wanted to make sure that I was like thinking about who this character was, and then just honestly, it's funny as actors, like we can overthink it. Like I thought that I would have to do like acting school technique in order to get this character down. But really, all I had to do was look at the script and learn the lines, and the script guides you. It tells you most of what you need to know when it's good. So you just learn the script, learn the lines, and in an obvious like in an obvious straight guy, funny guy situation, the oddball versus the straight guy. I'm the oddball in the situation. Leighton Meester plays the straight guy, and that's something that you shouldn't have to think much about either. When it's a screwball comedy kind of thing like that, that's not a technique thing. It's like it's not thinking about who is this character. It's like you're the odd guy, she's the straight guy. That's the deal. Let's go action. So I had to kind of get out of my head and go, stop trying to think about this character so much. Just let the script guide you. Look around you. Be the odd guy next to your straight sister, and get to work.
Well, we got to give a shout out then to the writers. I know we've kind of mentioned them a couple times, so shout out to them for the series. Amazing scripts. I've seen a couple of the episodes so far, so I really
They're
love.
magnificent, mate. Honestly, people talk to me about chemistry all the time with me and Leighton, and it's very nice. It's very kind, and we certainly get along. And I know that we're both good actors, so that it all seems like chemistry. And then I wonder about, is there magic there, or is it just seriously like we get along, we're friendly, we trust each other, and we learn the lines that are great. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a magic element or if it's just get along with your fellow actor and learn the lines.
I definitely think it's probably a combination of both because I mean, you guys do have great chemistry on screen, and that's not something that you can fake. So it comes across as an audience member watching it. And speaking of, I mean, you guys have an amazing cast from top to bottom. But as far as like Leighton and Clancy go, what do both of them bring as scene partners that you really appreciate? And was there anything that you learned from them as a fellow actor, just getting that experience, getting to work with them on the series?
Absolutely. Leighton it's funny because they're both seasoned professionals, but we're talking about a difference of like 40 years between the two of them because I think Clancy's up around 500 credits or whatever. Like he's a
Insane.
insane, insane career, the length of it and the depth of it too. But both of them have this thing of being relaxed. They're very relaxed people and they're very relaxed performers. And for me, I'm the opposite. Like I power and muscle performances sometimes, and bold. Those are the characters I like to play. So watching them relax is inspiring to me because it's like, oh, I should take on some relaxation too. They kind of like, they release the. This is physical, but they release the tension in their shoulders, and they just kind of like say the lines, and that's inspiring to me as somebody who holds tension in my shoulders. I know this might sound woo woo, but I hold tension in my shoulders. I power performances, I muscle performances. I'm a fake it till you make it guy. They are relaxed people. They're relaxed performers too, and both of them. I took that same thing away from both of them, like just relaxing to watch and relaxing to be around and relaxing when they perform. And yeah, that's I'd say the main lesson I learned from both of them.
Yeah, I mean, and it's always cool too, because I mean, you've been doing acting now for quite a while yourself, and so it's always nice when you can work with another performer and still be learning something, with every different project that comes along. So it's always nice, and I mean, working with these two guys who have been doing it for a while. Clancy, the first thing that, which I don't know if for other people, the first thing that pops to my mind is Pet Cemetery 2. I don't know if you've ever got the chance to see that, but a
I've
horror
never
movie
seen
from
it,
the
but people
90s.
always quote it to me. They quote Clancy. There's something about a bucket full of. It's some quote about.
And it's actually funny too, because if I'm remembering, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but he's a sheriff or a cop, I believe, actually in that one too. And spoilers if you've seen it, but he ends up getting killed and comes back, and he's just really kind of zany in that movie. But it's a
Yeah.
fun one. If you're into horror, definitely check it out. I recommend
There's
it.
a quote from it that everyone says to me, and they expect me to get it, but I don't get it. But I know
Yeah,
it's from that.
I say
He's
I know it's like everyone. I feel like that whether you're an actor or if you're just like a fan of movies, it's like people expect you to be like an IMDb database and just remember everything. And you're like, guys, there's just way too much stuff to remember out there.
yes, and writers. I mean, you hang around comedy writers, and they said that they're a little bit like Henry. They're a little bit somewhere, they're kind of odd people, but they're very funny and very sharp. And if I hang around writers and I get 50% of the references, I'm doing pretty well. Like the
Yep.
references are so sharp and quick, and they come at you fast. You don't even have time to say I don't get that. They're just on to the next.
And comedy, it's probably for me personally, I feel like it's one of the toughest genres to work in because everyone's sense of comedy is just so different. So it can be hard to make people laugh and actually have a good comedy. What is it about the genre that you love working in so much?
Hmm. Um, you know what people say like it's hard, um, but I don't think it's hard, but that's because that's because it's what I do.
That's what you love.
I look at like a Charlemagne performance, and I'm like, wow, that's hard. I find that really hard. So I don't find it hard. What I love about it is that it's new and it's fresh every time, and there's a million ways to make it funny. It's so interesting that like when you go into an editing room and you put together a performance, that one line reads they're both equally funny, just read in different ways, and they're funny for different reasons. If they're read in different ways, it's like so. I can't imagine going and having to edit a comedy episode of television. I think that would be so hard because you're like, there's so many options here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I obviously love comedy, and I think it's my strength rather than drama, and and I don't find it hard, and I think I find it enjoyable. I find it a challenge. I think that's what it is. Like I'm like, how do I figure out how to make this funny and believable at the same time?
I feel like today too, we don't, it seems to be the past couple of years, seems like we're getting a little bit of resurgence, but I feel like we don't have enough comedy today. But it does
Correct.
see something, whether it's movies, whether it's shows, there seems to be kind of a resurgence coming back, and I really miss them. So I'm glad that we're getting shows like this now. Is the, as far as just to wrap things up for you, is there, I know we've still got, quite a few episodes coming out in the season without going into any kind of spoilers. Is there anything that you can kind of just tease what fans can expect or look forward to with the rest of the season?
Yeah. So if you're following the kind of I guess it's the C story, it would be the bones that they found, and that the bones that they found in episode 2, and that are popping up as important in episode 3. That's a through line throughout the season that people should watch out for and remember and think about because it leads to something that'll blow the show open. And yeah, season 1 leaves you on a big kind of cliffhanger that you don't expect. You just think it's going to be a different murder that they deal with every week, but there's a bigger murder coming that's like hinted at throughout every episode, and so keep an eye out for that. And I hope, even though that it does get um, dramatic, I hope that it remains people's safe places that they can just sit back and watch casual murder dealt with casually.
No, yeah, like I said, I love the comedy. It's one of those kind of like feel good shows too. Like you said, they don't doesn't take itself too seriously, but it gives you a good laugh. So, but yeah, Luke, I mean, I that's great that you pointed that out. That's definitely something I'm going to keep, in my mind going forward for the rest of the season. It was so great to talk to you today, man. Thank you so much, and you're welcome back anytime in the future.
Oh, Pat, thanks so much, and also stay safe in where are you? New
Oh, I'm
Hampshire?
in New Hampshire, New Hampshire.
Oh my God, stay safe with that win, mate.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you, man.
G'day, this is Luke Cook. I play Henry Hickman in Good Cop, Bad Cop, and I'm here with Pop Culture with Pat.